Welcome to Thomond Park, where it is a proud night for David Kilcoyne. The Limerick prop becomes the 12th member of the Munster 200 club 11 years after replacing Marcus Horan against Connacht here in John Hayes' final match for the province. That's the only change in the pack. 3 changes in the Munster backline, with Craig Casey released from Ireland duty. Dan Goggin replaces Rory Scannell in the Munster midfield, and in the back 3 Calvin Nash is preferred to Shane Daly on the right wing. The Edinburgh starting lineup shows 4 changes from last week's defeat to Leinster at the RDS. It's as you were there for Mike Blair's men in the tight 5. 1 change in a reshuffled back row tonight. Nick Haining is at 6, so Ben Muncaster moves to play at number 8. Returning Scotland internationals Ben Velicott and Blair Kinghorn will strengthen the visitors' hand, as indeed will the strong running lines of Mark Bennett at 13. No change in the back 3 this evening. The 2 Argentinian flyers on the wings and the South African Henry Immelman at full-back. Well, all the talk pre-game was about the weather conditions and the inclement weather front coming in. Storm Eunice, though, it's pretty benign as we get set for kick-off, albeit a stiffening breeze blowing across the Thomond Park pitch this evening. Well, this team, Edinburgh, were top of the table just over a month ago. A win against Cardiff, stretching their unbeaten run in the URC to 6 matches, but 3 defeats in their last 4 games in all competitions, including back-to-back losses in the league, have seen the Scots slip down to 4th in the pecking order. They were well beaten last week by Leinster at the RDS, and they didn't offer too much against the champions and didn't score, in fact, in the game until the 75th minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's hear it for Munster, playing on his 200th lap by David Kilcoyne.
As is now customary, the light show before we get underway. And as you might expect, a warm applause to greet the double centurion, Dave Kilcoyne. 200 not out for the 33-year-old, 45 times cap Ireland prop. Stephen Larkham got a pretty frustrated figure this week, bemoaning Munster's lack of cohesion in the defeat to Glasgow last week. Unusually, he said there were no positives to take from the game. He said every aspect could be improved upon.
Please join us as we remember Munster Rugby Hall of Fame member and Irish rugby legend Tom Kiernan. Tom won 54 caps for Ireland and played 5 times for the British and Irish Lions. As a coach, he was in charge of the Munster team that recorded the famous win against the All Blacks and coached Ireland to a triple crown. A true rugby man, may he rest in peace.
Tom Kiernan and his remarkable legacy, remembered before kick-off tonight at Thomond Park. Ben Whitehouse is the man in charge, assisted by Chris Busby and Oisin Quinn. TMO is Brian McNeice. As we said, it's very, very tight at the top of the table in this competition. It is a big night for both sides and a big night for Munster on home soil.
You know why? Which way you
just as we're speaking at kick-off, having said that the conditions reasonably benign,
sure everyone's behind you.
Familiar drizzle drifting its way in around Thomond Park. Blair Kinghorn then reinstated into the Edinburgh half-back pairing alongside Ben Velicott tonight, and he gets us underway straight down the middle to last week's Munster try scorer at Scotstoun Stadium against Glasgow, Jean Klein. Straight into the hands of Chris Cloutier, back way number 7 on his back this evening, the open side flanker, and on the other flank, Jack O'Donoghue. Early penalty inside the opening 30 seconds, and a chance to bring in Gordon Darcy alongside me.
Good evening, and see Ben Healy just lining up with a big right boot of his. Instinct from an Edinburgh perspective, one of the places that really let them down last week was their discipline, and that yellow, potentially a red card in the first half really changed the momentum in the game. And, you know, inside the first minute, Marshall Sykes giving away that early penalty and giving Leinster really good territory into just outside the 22 and a really good attacking platform.
We were just saying a few minutes before kickoff, if the weather does close in as we expect it might, and it does seem to be, well, certainly that cannon boot of Ben Healy is hugely useful just to put Munster in the areas of the field where they're required to be, and we saw that with that penalty. He got every inch out of it, and it's a good take from O'Donoghue, and they work it around the corner, and a little bit of invention brings in the Calvin Nash, and Munster surge forward. Really good opening salvo this. Quick ball from Casey into the hands of Stephen Archer. They recycle. Coombs out the back, over the top. Oh, difficult pass, and on the bounce didn't quite sit up for Dan Goggins.
Option.
Lovely bit of inventive play there from Munster.
Yeah, you got option.
Straight off the line out, having that early set and moving the ball away from the point of contact. That man Gavin Coombs involved twice there. Two lovely offloads, showing the value of letting the ball do the work. Coombs there.
Scrum line.
You know, a little bit more of a sympathetic pass, or Dan Goggins maybe anticipating that pass. He could have had an opening try from Munster, but really promising start.
It's soft underground. You've got to get your feet underneath us. Okay, this is not going to be an excuse if they're too far back.
Really positive opening couple of minutes then. Every time Gavin Coombs gets the ball, of course, you just expect him to go ramrodding forward, and he draws in 2 or 3 defenders. He's interesting to see them just pop it out the back. A little bit of variation. He was so effective over the base of the scrum last week, and gave Duncan Weir a torrid evening at times.
Crouch!
Munster just last week looked like a team who lacked any kind of fluency or cohesion. A lot of changes to the side, and it was a pretty poor evening in terms of conditions. Now off the base for Edinburgh comes Ben Muncaster. Played on the flank last week against Leinster. Oh, that's been spilled, and maybe the impact of John Klein helps that back on a Munster side. They're playing with knock-on advantage, which will come now because the ball goes loose.
Lost forward that side, but first one is Munster ball.
Yeah, as you pointed out before, they get a little bit of drizzle coming in, and I suppose that ball focus will need to be very important from both teams. Just to touch on the Gavin Coombs, really important. Some fortuitous defence there from Munster, but Gavin Coombs, he's going to want to have a timely reminder to the Irish coaches. Big focus was around the physicality in that French team. It's not something he's very adept and able to deliver, but what he can be a real point of difference for him is that handling skills. Big guys that are able to pass the ball, able to suck in defenders, let the ball do the work. That'll be something we want to see from, continue to see from Gavin Coombs this evening.
Bind! Set!
Gavin Coombs, the youngest ever Munster player of the season, of course. That season where he scored 15 tries. Munster coming forward yet again, looking for the opening try of the evening. This time, ball's not released on the floor from Chris Farrell.
Always on the man.
And Munster will get another penalty. Interesting to see what they do here. All the pressure, all the early advantage, and maybe wisely they're going to get the scoreboard ticking over if they can from Ben Healy.
And Chris Farrell on the angle there, and that is something that's his bread and butter. Really hard to stop. Casey does exactly what he draws his man and he takes over. But Conor Boyle, you know, it's all about the pictures that you place in for the referee. He has time there. He just has to show that clear release. He has all rights to the ball. But Ben Whitehouse right there, very clear instructions, and that's a sloppy penalty from Edinburgh. And again, they just seem to be soaking pressure, and now they're going to, you would expect Ben Healy to tap this over, take a little bit of scoreboard pressure as well.
No problem whatsoever. And the first points of the evening go the way of the home side, who lead by 3 points to 0. Bread and butter stuff from Ben Healy.
Ball.
Well, they will have looked for a reaction this week to what was a pretty insipid display away to Glasgow last week, where they never really got going. Just the one try in the game, and well, they could have drawn the match but for a misconversion of Jean Klein's try in the 72nd minute, but not to be.
Wingers onside, stop Red, now everyone on.
Healy again, this time up towards the 10-metre line. What breeze there is, and it is swirling around, it's difficult to ascertain exactly who's playing into it, but I think it's fair to say it probably is in the face of Munster.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's great having a player with that ability to get the ball to travel long distance. Of Ben Healy, quite almost a conservative kick by his standards. But now this is where Edinburgh need to, if they don't want to lose touch in this game. I know we're very early in it, but they need to have a functioning line out, and they need to win primary possession to have any chance again against here. A great play from Munster, up competing.
Calvin Nash with a kick, but Munster got their jumpers in.
Not touch from me.
Up in the air early at the front.
Ball still live, still live. Okay.
Great reach, isn't it, from
mate.
Klein?
It's just outside.
Almost back to where we started, though. They'll get another bite at the cherry.
Yeah, no touch. Clearly no touch.
Very good, sir.
Yeah, this is an area that Edinburgh struggled in again in last week.
If
they're going to struggle at the line-out time, they're going to have to cut the line-out down. They need to win primary possession. They need to have the ball in this area of the field.
Stay, Maul, stay.
Plenty of moving parts there, but they do secure good possession. 7.5 minutes in, we haven't really seen them on the attack, and they're going to struggle to get any forward momentum from that. Maul, good defence from Munster initially. Into midfield they go, and Klute is over it, and straight away you can hear 3 or 4 Munster players acknowledging that familiar position that the diminutive South African number 7 is in, and he's locked on, and it's another turnover penalty.
Yeah, complete contrast to, say, what Conor Boyle had done at the other end of the field.
Holding on.
Funny decision-making from Edinburgh there. Very static maul. Why they went to try and drive that maul, they didn't get any forward momentum, and really just passing the ball 10 yards back to a static James Lang, who had no other options really than to carry the ball, and Munster just swamped over him, and you can see that intensity, and a very nice raking rangefinder there from Ben Healy just outside the Edinburgh 22.
Kept it low and drives it into the breeze.
He's hitting 6. 2 meters, please.
Jeremy Barron once again starting at hooker for Munster alongside Kilcoyne and Archer. Plenty of experience either side of him. Niall Scannell on the bench this evening.
Stay where you are, Reds. Don't move. Just step out. Step out, please. Step out. Good.
Calvin Nash infield, poised behind Ben Healy here. What's the variation from a Munster point of view? Straight up the guts initially with a good carry from Goggin, and now on the recycle. Back inside from Healy, that's clever too. O'Donoghue, and there is Calvin Nash. This one off the training paddock through a couple of phases, and then Casey had to improvise. The pass to the outside channel was blocked by Marshall Sykes, who brings the scrum half to ground. It's there for Zebo to improvise now, and on they go with Kilcoyne. Good tempo about the Munster attack, and O'Donoghue. Casey recycles and goes to Klein. Conor Boyle in there trying to rip it clear, but they'll go again with Farrell.
Not on the ball.
Clear out from Kilcoyne is good, which means good possession, primary possession for Casey. Right in front of those posts, lots of options. Farrell difficult to stop from there, rather up against Blair Kinghorn. Adam McBurney had to come in and help out. Approaching the 10-minute mark, it's been all Munster.
No, they're online.
Leading by that penalty, but hoping to get the first try of the evening. And they'll have numbers to the left if they want to move this. They'll keep it in tight. Great drive, it's Wycherley for the line. And they have the first try of the evening. Relentless pressure through the phases. They lined up all the big targets. It seemed inevitable, and they get their reward with a try from Finnan Wycherley.
Yeah, the Munster faithful here, they knew that ball was over the line before Ben Whiteace did. That is a very good, patient, well-worked try by Munster. Had a little bit of everything. Great passing there. You see Ben Healy getting back into Jack O'Donoghue. The offload, crucial offload that gets that in behind the defensive line. Again, you can see Jack O'Donoghue showing the value of letting the ball do the work, and this is a very brave line. But again, when you're playing with quick ball on the front foot, those little passes, they're not risky. You're winning the physical contact. You're getting over the line. That was a really composed, really good early bit of play from Munster, and a full value for that 5 points. And you would expect Ben Healy to tap this over for it to be a 7.
And he duly obliges. On lots of the facets of play, they would have had the Munster coaching ticket scratching their heads during the week that were absent, markedly absent in Glasgow, already on display tonight. Clinical play, patient play, purposeful attack and variation too.
Brace, chuck a ball on there, mate.
Yeah, and it's suiting the way Craig Casey's natural game. He likes to play with the ball in hand. He likes to be moving it away from the breakdown. And that's the way the game is evolving at the moment. When you get that quick ball, that you move it away straight away. And that's what Craig Casey's game is all about. And we're seeing our Munster are benefiting from that and feeding off each other very, very nicely.
Plenty to ponder for Mike Blair. It's the try scorer, Finnan Wycherley, who's hoisted in the air, couldn't quite take it cleanly. Ball is there for Edinburgh. Now what can they manufacture here? Get some go forward from Leroy Adalifo, the tight head prop. Ball is there for Velicott. This time he goes to McBurney. It's all a little static and ponderous. And they're just going to have to present better pictures to Ben Whitehouse. That's 2 or 3 times inside the opening 12 minutes, right in front of the referee. He hasn't liked what he's seen.
Yeah, it's very pedestrian from Edinburgh. And I suppose in stark contrast to the way Munster are adapting playing at the breakdown, there is a pause. There's an unnecessary pause at the breakdown before they move it away from it. And what that actually allows is that facilitates the Munster team to not engage in the breakdown because they don't have to compete. They can actually set their defensive lines. So in a very clear fashion, it actually is hurting Edinburgh by taking time at the breakdown. They're going to need to be better. They're going to need to change in this game. They're going to need to change quickly, or this game is going to quickly spill, I suppose run out of touch for them.
Very clear in front of Ben Whitehouse. Marshall Sykes conceding the penalty. It is a bitterly cold evening. Conditions not set to improve any, but they're reasonably okay at the moment, all things considered. We were promised or threatened with snow and hail and violent winds. It hasn't really been that kind of day down here in Limerick. Now then, Clouthier lining up his opposite number, Conor Boyle. Good, strong carry into contact. Casey now as he landed that outside the 22. Calvin Nash in quickly. Didn't let him hit the ground.
But he was in the air.
That's sloppy from Calvin Nash. You can see the little shake of the head.
He's only a little bit in the air, but he was up.
Good build-up play. Probably a little bit too far on the kick from Casey. He'd probably be a little bit disappointed with himself. And it's the margins you're talking about here. 2 meters or a meter shorter, and Calvin Nash can hit him as he's hitting the ground. It was a perfectly timed kick. As a result, though, Edinburgh getting a relieving penalty and get their own throw in just on halfway.
Behind the line.
Yeah, only a fraction out. Yeah. You very often see players these days just kind of hug their knees into their chest when they're in the air to try and get that little bit of extra hang time if the opposition player is coming in at a rate of knots.
First stop. Use it now.
Zero change out of that Mull defence from Munster. Adam McBurney, off he goes, peels around the corner. Unorthodox fan, shall we say, right into the face of Chris Clouthier from the former Ulsterman McBurney.
Use it!
And there it is for Velicott. And off on this near side goes Buffelli. Both Buffelli and Moyano, the two Argentinian wingers, starved of any real primary possession last week at the RDS, and when Buffelli finally got his hands on it with about 5 minutes to go, he scored a beautiful try. Coombs again into contact.
Still in, use it.
Casey lining up another box kick from right on his own 22. Much more height on it this one, a lot more contestable. Calvin Nash and Ben Healy together. This time it's clean, but Edinburgh have it in the shape of Glenn Young. Strong challenge, 2-man challenge. Clouthier in there as well. Kinghorn Charlie Savala played at 10 last week against Leinster at the RDS. He signed a new contract for Edinburgh this week. That's Cloutier again, and they're going to have to be very, very mindful of that black scrum cap and that squat jackal position.
Originally, he was nowhere near the ball.
Just coming up in 16 minutes, and already the penalty count 5. Edinburgh conceding 5 points to 1. 5 penalties to 1.
Okay, and to stop them getting up. Okay,
like, it's effectively tying one hand behind your back with trying to play. Every time they've had any sort of venture into the Munster half, they've given away a penalty. And Ben Healy, this easily within his range and keeping the scoreboard ticking over. Really disappointing from Edinburgh.
There was a similar story last week where they were errant in defence and costly in terms of penalties. You just cannot give Chris Cloutier that window to get in over the ball like that.
Yeah, and you've got to look at Marshall Sykes there and Glenn Young and saying that's, you know, there's 2 of them there. They have every right to win that space, but Chris Cloutier just comes in and steals it from underneath them, and like, it's not a tactical thing. It's not a coaching. That's that little bit of want, that little bit of fight and get in and try and win the ball, and that's just missing from Edinburgh in this opening quarter.
It looks pretty good, sounded good. The connection was sweet as you like. 63% probability for Ben Healy, but he made it look a lot easier than that. And they are just stretching out that advantage, keeping that scoreboard ticking and taking the pressure off themselves to be in any hurry to try and do anything else. He started this game very well, Ben Healy. He was excellent here a few weeks ago in that game against Wasps when Munster in general were excellent. There's a little bit of a helpful carry on the shoulder from Chris Cloutier against Chris Farrell. Plenty of strength there, got the quads driving. Farrell's a big man to
back feet.
Carry like that. Healy. Here is Farrell now as Munster just start to go through the gears. That midfield combination, Goggin and Farrell this evening. Yeah, that was looked like it needed to be the short pass inside to Gavin Coombs. Just timing issue and a breakdown in communication, maybe.
Yeah, and a really good bit of an interesting bit of play here from Chris Cloutier, obviously looking after his as the lifter looking after his jumper, and just kind of carries him past the tackle. So I'm not sure that's one they would have rehearsed in training. Some good play from Munster in the build up to that penalty as well. But Ramiro Moyana Yoa, lovely bit of defence in the wide channel, cuts off the passing channel for Chris Farrell, and they get the turnover then when Ben Healy doesn't have, I suppose, runs in behind his defenders.
I've just seen it
so
again, the left.
Edinburgh, they're getting into positions to build some pressure. It's just the accuracy when they get in here. Oddly enough, they seem to be switching off when they get into the opposition's half. This is where we need Edinburgh to really focus and to start to build a foothold in the game.
Taken cleanly from Young. What can they get going here with James Lang? He's under pressure from Coombs, and then it's really sloppy, and again they've coughed up cheap ball from a decent position, and Munster now on the counter-attack. Casey running out of pitch, stabs one down into the Edinburgh 22.
Stop!
And the return kick is swinging infield. Cloutier now just getting his bearings and finding out where his fullback is. He wasn't quite sure, so he decided to take it on his own. Boyd is in there with the challenge.
You're holding him in, no chance.
Casey will be allowed to play that. No penalty coming here. They go deep to Healy. Good comfortable clear. Immelman did well.
Don't hold the player in on the floor. Yeah, on you.
Booming kick this time from the Edinburgh fullback, and once again they find themselves just up into Munster territory, but once again it's not protecting the ball really when they put themselves in those attacking positions.
Yeah, it's putting themselves into the place where they can actually try and build it, but
It's messy ruck.
So obviously, resourcing the ruck is paramount to anything. So you've got the ball carrier, but the support from the Edinburgh players just seems to be a step behind. And with the quality that Munster have in their back row in particular, if you are a step behind, you're going to lose plays, you're going to lose ball. So Edinburgh were going to really need a focus on the field, somebody pulling them in, whoever's having the chat in the team to say, guys, we need to put focus on the breakdown. We need to build time, we need to build pressure, and we need to get on the scoreboard in whatever fashion that comes.
He must be pretty happy with what he's seen from the side so far. Stark contrast to last week, and we always talk during Six Nations games, and of course a lot of these matches taking place over these Six Nations weekends are rescheduled matches, but it does bring to bear the strength and depth in the various squads. 22 players missing for Edinburgh last week at the RDS. They've got 3 or 4 back from Scotland this week, but it is a big test. That's a great reach from O'Donoghue. Casey just lost his footing. Brought to ground by Young. Excellent piece of line-out work from Munster's back rower then. Healy gets himself into position, but it's another Munster penalty, and they're not happy with it, Edinburgh, and it's going to cost them another few yards. Ben Whitehouse not happy with the feedback, let's say.
I think I must be about to give them the kiss of death, or I have given Edinburgh the kiss of death. I was just about to compliment them for a good set of winning the contact zone. And then again, remarkably, just shoot themselves in the foot. So now the penalty, since we did our last penalty check, it's now gone 6-2, and we are what 20, just a quarter of the way into this game. So at every time Edinburgh get into the opposition half, they are inflicting penalties and just allowing Munster to creep up the field.
Yeah, there you see initially the hit was good. It was
one. Yeah, line's good for you. Yeah, 2
men working in unison, but here they are again. Munster, that is, with Dermot Barron, and looking to set up something again out wide, because Calvin Nash has gone into a similar position from where they had that last launch, which almost ended up in a try, ultimately led to the try that followed from Finan Wycherley.
Good release.
And Edinburgh have got one back against the head. That's what they need. Conor Boyle, that is the open side.
Yeah, and they need something. They need someone to spark something in this Edinburgh team, and that's a lovely one penalty by Conor Boyle. Just doing the basics well. You could hear Ben Whitehouse saying clear release, all rights to the ball, gets in and wins the ball. And now getting that set piece in the half. And Edinburgh, this doesn't have to be the most spectacular play. It just needs to be building some phase play.
Boys, we're going to put Edinburgh on the 10
over the game
on the edge of the line.
Build a bit of pressure onto Munster and see, can you test them over 5, 6, 7, 8 phases and see what might arise off the back of that. At the moment, I don't think Edinburgh have got over 3 phases.
I thought Conor Boyle, who won that penalty, was probably Edinburgh's standout player last week at the RDS.
Clear
it was
release.
a difficult evening, losing 26 points to 7. Can they go through the phases cleanly? Healy's in there, he's not going to get any purchase on that. Lang, now they move it to Kinghorn, and they do have options, 2 players wide, and that's what they can do on attack when they get it into those wide channels, when they feed the Argentinian speedsters, and when the likes of Ramiro Moyano get their hands on the ball.
Brilliant play from Edinburgh, and great to see them back in the game. Exactly what they needed. Something to rejuvenate the team. Just shows, get a bit of territory, get a bit of possession. Quite a complex play, but they pushed it, and they got the rewards. You can see them coming back here. This delayed pass is what holds Jack O'Donoghue here, and that's what creates the hole on the short side. That super delayed pass. They've got the wrap around. You can see the number 6 there trying to come back around, hit at pace, and really good skills from Edinburgh. Great to see, and well played from this Edinburgh team to come back. Every reason not to get back into that point, but they are back in.
Yes, lovely sleight of hand, ball over the top from Kinghorn, and then the presence of mind from Bennett just to hold on to it, make sure of that overlap. Yep, struck it really well, nice and clean, no problems whatsoever for Buffelli, as you might expect. And Edinburgh, well, we've waited 25 minutes for them to get any real cohesion, but they're very much back in the game. And
that's a disappointing defensive set there, and again Zebo didn't know whether to come up with Casey or to stay back, and did nothing, and Edinburgh were able to capitalise on that. And again, lovely hands from James Lang in the midfield there, holding it up, held 3 Munster defenders. Really good play.
so will that galvanise our Scottish visitors here this evening in Wimbledon, and back they go to Kinghorn. Zebo saw so little of the ball last week at Scotstoun against Glasgow. I think he was really involved in 3 carries the whole 80 minutes.
I couldn't see him that very, sorry.
And this is where Edinburgh are so good. Broken field, numbers left. I've seen them so many times this season score wonderful counter-attack tries, and I think that's
continuation of the tackle, the touch.
Nick Haney just in the touch. His head was in touch, certainly.
It's been touched.
His head strapping in touch. I think he just had a stumble as he's running past. I think there's a scrum on the field.
I was trying
just
to
has a little stumble there, going through some of the stud marks. Doing his best to stay in, but there's one man there that's got, you're not going to win too many physical battles with. Gavin Coombs. Chris Farrell and Gavin Coombs. 2 men you're not going to win a physical contact with. But a good enterprise from Edinburgh, willing to run out and maybe playing themselves into the game.
Yeah, boys, come on, let's have this gap now.
Off the back of very little possession, as you can see, 35% in the opening 26 minutes, and as Gordon said, the concession of 7 penalties does not help the cause. Wycherley takes it from Barron, and away they go from Coombs to Cloutier. Solid hit from Boyle, only 22. Huge height on that. Calvin Nash underneath it.
Back off red from
Buffelli came up.
Yeah.
It's back off a Munster hand. Edinburgh have it.
Use it, 9. He's onside.
Off goes Buffelli on the kick chase. Coombs underneath it.
Back.
It's fantastic the way Gavin Coombs is able to ride the tackle.
Use it, 9.
Hits the ground. Has a big hit, I think, potentially from Oliver that came in there, and he's still able to take those 2-3 steps after the contact. Really impressive.
No. Use it. Yes, out.
Casey persisting with the box kicking option. Very athletic take under the high ball.
Use it.
And we're back into position with Casey's opposite number, Ben Velicott.
No chance. I called it ages.
He's taking a little bit too long for Ben Whitehouse, and we don't see too often the referee calling that, but
I did call use it. I said use it, you've added an extra player in.
Judge, let's go, Gunners.
If we're going to be box kicking, lads, we're going to speed it up for both sides, okay? I clearly called use it and said you've added an extra man.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm happy with box kicking, lads, but we're going to do it
wants to keep
quickly.
everything moving at a good tempo.
Yeah, and I suppose if Edinburgh can embrace that, they might actually get some. They might get something from it. But that's the way the game is being played at the moment. Refs are giving very clear instructions, and Ben Velicott should have been what he actually looked over his left shoulder, so he had no winger, and he was actively trying to slow that down because he knows if he box kicks it, there's nobody chasing that.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold. Use it.
Munster moving forward, pitch cutting up a little bit under the pressure of that forward pack. That was tricky for Dan Goggin. Did he manage to avoid the knock on? I think he did. Ben Whitehouse is happy. Casey is there. Tricky, slippy one for Klein. I thought he was going to lose it also. Instead, they go inside to Farrell, who's more than a match for Kinghorn, but Boyle very solid and robust around the tackle area. Ooh, that's a little bit loose, and so is that.
Advantage. Okay,
Couldn't
we're not
quite
playing
pick it up,
advantage because he's played the
knocked
ball
it
on
forward,
the floor.
so it'll be a put in.
First is a knock on.
Munster's put in at that.
Knock on off 9, I think
Yeah,
it was.
a little bit of conservatism creeping into the Munster play. Obviously not this offload or attempted offload from Jack O'Donoghue I'm going to talk about. But just in general, they seem to have tightened up what was very, very fluid in the opening 15, 16 minutes. They just have started to just to tighten up a little bit. And I'd say that's in direct response. That's directly related to the little bit of Edinburgh pressure, and that's the important thing. The little bit of Edinburgh pressure, and they got 7 points. And suddenly, you know, what was quite a healthy lead now is as the margins have just slipped a little bit. But they have a scrum here, and the Munster scrum has been rock solid so far. So let's see what Ben Healy and his team have to do with the
crouch. Bind.
Just out of your picture, he's in conversation with Dan Goggin, Ben Healy, communicating that on to Craig Casey. So what have they got up their sleeve here? They need clean ball, secure ball. They don't have that now. All bets are off, and Healy's got to improvise. Incessant pressure from the Edinburgh open side. Conor Boyle, who's popping up all over the place, making a huge amount of tackles. There's the 200 man, Dave Kilcoyne, and Boyle's over it. Didn't think he was the tackler. I thought he had rights on that, but Munster have it anyway. Farrell now to Healy. Healy's still going, and we're seeing so many penalties here. You cannot just pinch that extra yard or two.
Yeah, on the balance of those
tackle not complete, but he can't crawl.
Is it really worth the crawl? Okay, you kind of have to think that Mike Haley is better served just going to ground, and even the time it's going to take him to crawl that extra 2 or 3 meters, the ball could be in and moved away from the point of contact.
Right.
So a silly play, silly individual play from Mike Haley there. Edinburgh will be very, very happy with this last kind of 10 minutes, I think, and familiar position from them, and let's see what little surprises they can create from this lineup.
Okay. Pardon?
That's Bowen Venter, the former junior Springbok and South African schools player who scored a hat-trick of tries against the Ospreys and finished on the losing side.
Maul, stay, away.
Hailing and now out to James Lang in the Edinburgh midfield. Klute there, Velicott gets it a little quicker. Big tackle, Munster coming in, strong defensive line, and off they go again with Nick Haining. Ball alive for Velicott. It's a good read from Archer as Bennett looked to try and find some space on the outside shoulder. Edinburgh now kicking the ball away and kicking it straight to Healy. Returned with interest from Immelman. Lots of hang time on this. Comfortable watch for Healy.
Ozzy, just check the comm second. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think Blair Kinghorn, it was the right idea, just the wrong execution. They'd gone through, I suppose, what their set plays have been. There was no clear advantage of what they were going, and was just looking to try and roll that into the 5 meter channel, maybe try and get it off the field and try and put a pressure on. But it just came off either the inside or the outside of his boot and just rolled straight into Ben Healy. And that's what happens when you give that man
good play.
An opportunity to kick. Loves the spiral, and Edinburgh running quick.
Stop, nine, stop. Now you're on.
Thumps it downfield.
No, it's
backfield
fine.
coverage from Healy is solid.
Inside.
His kick return asks the same question.
Here, lads. Kick
the Edinburgh fullback.
Stop. All on.
Healy. There might be a little bit of extra purchase on this.
Inside it is. Sorry. You brought that back.
Up to halfway.
Good question.
Any young supporters watching at home want to know whether they should kick or spiral or end over end. You can hit the spiral kick. The extra meters, so important, and Ben Healy so proficient at that skill. 2 kicks, 2 torpedoes, great yardage, helping to swing Munster back into this half.
Stop there. More, stay.
Taken cleanly by Glenn Young.
Don't change your bind.
Former Newcastle and Harlequins player signed.
No, he's entered from the side there, 7.
From Wasps.
Not hit the back.
Velicott waits.
Still advantage, keep the mark. We're not going anywhere there. 7, you come from the side, not the back.
Chris Klute has come in from the side, he's been penalised, so an opportunity for Boffelli perhaps to put Edinburgh down into Munster territory and finish this half on the front foot. They'd probably be pretty pleased, 35 minutes on the watch, to be only trailing 13 points to 7, having really not been a feature in the game for the opening 20 minutes or thereabouts.
Just inside, Grace will put Edinburgh on the line.
Conversely, Munster are going to be pretty disappointed with how things have gone. You can see Chris Closey coming in there now.
Just use
he knows exactly what he's doing. He's going in, being a nuisance in the way you want your number 7 to be in a game. But that is sloppy, and you know, you want him to be there. You want him to be inside, putting his head where you wouldn't put his boot. But you don't want that. You don't want him to give away that penalty.
Well, there was a lot of moving parts there. It didn't work out, didn't go to hand, but Vellacott was sharp and alive to try and maintain the momentum with Edinburgh. Marshall Sykes with the carry. They're queuing up here. Glenn Young again. Support in behind from Haney. Can they be clinical once again with ball in hand here? Sykes again on the carry. Klein can't get their ball there for Vellacott as they recycle, and they go to Bowen Venter. He knows really only one way to go, and that is straight forward. It's difficult for Boyle. It's gone backwards. Ben Whitehouse is okay. The play can continue.
Okay. I just saw a player fighting for the floor.
Haney again. Glenn Young on the carry. Good challenge coming in by Finnan Wycherley. They go again, this time to Bennett. Good defensive set from Munster so far. Now, can they maintain it, or can Edinburgh stress in a different area and ask a different question? Klute gets away with one a little bit there. Venter on the charge again. Vellacott to Kinghorn. Back inside. They're not really making any ground. And they miss out Boyle this time and go to Nick Haney. Can they manufacture space on this side? Venter tries his catch pass, not bad, and Kinghorn gets it on. Wycherley is in there, falls on the wrong side. McBurney now. Kilcoyne there. 15 phases, first time we've seen Edinburgh in this kind of position go through anything like this amount of phases, but they're going back 5, maybe 10 metres and more than that. Now they have the advantage. Opportunity knocks, 38th minute of the game. Kinghorn knows that, pops it in behind. Should be comfortable for Healy. Back we go for the penalty.
Clear the area. The player rolled into the 9, took the 9 with him.
Yeah, and again, really clear instructions from Ben Whitehouse. I think Munster were very fortunate to wait till the 15th phase to give away a penalty there.
Right into the 9.
I think Jim O'Bannon was pretty lucky not to. Actually, I think if Ben Whitehouse had seen.
Yeah, so I said what I saw live, and no one else came in with anything different, so we played through.
That fumble at the breakdown, it could have been more than just a yellow card.
Mark, I saw the player trying to fight for the ground,
and
he was trying to hold him up, and that's why he was the imbalance.
Bannon again, sloppy play, and it undoes the previous 15 phases, which has been so good, so disciplined, and was frustrating Edinburgh for the whole piece. That didn't look like they were going to go anywhere. So you would be tipping him in the shoulder and kind of
if the coaches are listening, I've already spoken to them about that. They would have heard
to work harder.
Luggage.
Straight in front and straight between the uprights, and we've got 90 seconds of the opening regulation, 40 to go, and suddenly it's a 3-point game.
A tale of two halves within a half, and it's been really good from Edinburgh, and interestingly very uncomposed from Munster. Such an explosive opening, and this will be a concern for Van Graan and his coaching staff, that they weren't able to build on such clear dominance and momentum, and everything has evened up now. Possession, territory, penalties, all evened up.
Onside.
They raced, cruised into a 13-0 lead, and then just the setback of that Ramiro Moyano try just seemed to
take him back.
knock Munster off their stride and just retreat into their default position and playing a little bit more conservatively. Haven't seen anything really of Zebo. A little bit of a seatbelt challenge there. Referee's arm is outstretched. Penalty coming here. Maybe there's something left for Munster in this final minute or two of the half.
Just a little bit high, that's all. Yeah. It's just slipped up over the shoulder onto the neck. Penalty only. Just clear the mark there. I'm 6 metres out from touch.
Yeah, by the letter of the law, that is, it's could easily have been let go.
Thanks,
it'll be interesting to see what Munster. You can see Jack O'Donoghue
sure
there very clearly telling Ben Healy, get this as close to the corner flag as you possibly can. Give us one chance to finish out this with 5 or 7 points.
I think Healy quite fancied a kick at the post, didn't he? Even from that angle, from that distance, he was certainly contemplating it. But yeah, that's decent, nudged on that narrow side, very little angle.
He's got a very, very good kicking game. He's got all the attributes you want from your 10. As you said, Conor, that's a difficult kick on the half, very so close to the touchline, and he drilled that as hard as he could, nice and low. Try and get every inch out of it.
Lads, I am the middle. No, lads. You're not listening to me. Get on him, please. Don't go. Stay.
Similar conversation I have with my kids on a regular basis. I unfortunately don't have a whistle there.
Some of the players out there similarly unattentive.
Great body height from Munster. Really in behind, winning that initial contact at the breakdown and getting the bent arm from Ben Whiteout.
Penalty advantage. I think it was Glenn Young maybe bringing it down. Might have been Marshall Sykes. It's Clute on the carry, almost on his hands and knees again. And Coombs now, and how many times have we seen him just get that leg drive going inch by inch, foot by foot, and make it all the way to the line. He won't quite get there this time. Great option here for Munster. Klein now, could he get across the whitewash 2 weeks in a row? He won't get there, but surely somebody in red will, and who better than the all-time record try scorer Simon Zebo to send Munster into the sheds with the kind of lead that the majority of the first half has demanded they take into the sheds. There was huge numbers to the left-hand side, and Zebo canters in for his 65th try in Munster colours.
Great confidence from Jack O'Donoghue with his team, with the squad. Right decision at the right time, kicking the ball from the corner. And look at the passing here. Look at Chris Farrell, soft hands. Again, that skill, carrying the ball, 2 hands, fixing defenders. The defence had absolutely no chance there. Chris Farrell, Ben Healy combining with two absolutely sublime passes. Really well deserved, well worked try from Munster. Really nice to see. Had a lot in the build up to that. Lot to be happy with going into the sheds. And as Ben Healy plops the ball down, let's see if he can add the 2 points.
The crowd like it. The assistant referees agree, they raise their flags, and it's a 10-point game at half-time. 10 points from the boot of Ben Healy to embellish the tries from Finan Wycherley and Simon Zebo. Edinburgh got themselves back into it, but Munster in the box seat at half-time. They lead by 20 points to 10 at half-time. Welcome back, all set to go there in the second half at Thomond Park with the new introduction of the light show at half-time and indeed at kickoff as the Munster team come out, leading by 20 points to 10. Big weekend, of course, this round 12 in the URC. So many permutations at the top of the table. Ulster, who come into the weekend top of the pile, don't play until they go to Newport to play the Dragons at Sunday lunchtime. And before that, of course, Leinster in action against the Ospreys in Glasgow. Arguably the form side in the competition of late, with 4 straight wins ahead of their game at home to Benetton, a game which they will feel on current form. Certainly, having beaten Munster at home last week, they can win. Edinburgh, as we mentioned at the outset, came here this evening on the back of consecutive defeats, but still with a chance to go top of the table potentially. They'll have to mount a little bit of a second half renaissance here in Limerick if they're to do that. Munster could finish the night second in the table.
He's digging for it.
2 points all told, separate in the opening, or the top 4 sides rather. Healy underneath this one. He never really looked set to get that, just came off his elbow, but Edinburgh player in an offside position.
Sloppy and very uncharacteristic from Mike Healy.
A number of offences.
Probably almost too easy. He was doing the second job before he did the first one. Not a particularly good kick from Velikot. And yeah, Mike Healy, player of his quality, his class, you'd expect more from that. And Edinburgh get some early territory and a good
inside.
Disappointing now. Ben Healy more than likely going to return this with interest.
Stay Reds, stay Reds. Wait.
Yes, he does. Not a million miles away from our commentary position, and it's easy to say up here, but sometimes, well, maybe that's an issue with the breeze as well that we spoke about. Edinburgh turning around, playing into the wind if it is that, but Boffelli knows he's got to find his touch from there to give them a good platform to try and score first in this second half. As it is, they have the line out with Adam McBurney. A little bit of indecision. It doesn't really affect the outcome though, as Glenn Young takes it, and off go Edinburgh now with Immelman. Good strong carry from the fullback. Good solid hit too. Combination of Goggin and Healy, and now they move it wide, and Kinghorn can use his feet potentially. Dealt with efficiently from Kilcoyne, I think it was, and Klutze in there as well. Finnan Wycherley has played well this evening. Lying night. Coon stuck to the task. Velikot. Moyano this time. Velikot once more, they're lining up Bowen Venter, and through the hands out the back now.
Stop 9, good, onside.
Munster reasonably well placed. Kick return from Healy straight down the middle.
It's a good play from Edinburgh, getting in behind, but again a mistimed kick by them.
Stop, Blue.
And it just shows how quickly Munster can go down the other end of the field.
Healy just had to readjust his body position then. Calvin Nash off in chase. That's good work from Immelman. And now a clean pair of heels. Oh, it's a lovely break from the Edinburgh fullback. Strong carry too, bouncing off Mike Healy. Now he's given his team front foot ball and a great platform here. Good field position. Bennett now on the fend on Archer, and the way they go with Bowen Venter. Velikot, Edinburgh up into that Munster 22, stemming from that great break from Immelman initially. Now they go again, lying, crossfield kick the option this time, and when it goes 2 yards out of play on the full, it's not the right option. Did they have an advantage? I didn't hear the referee call it.
Yeah, it did not feel like that was the right play from Edinburgh. A little bit at 6s and 7s at the way they'd gotten there, they're going forward, they had momentum. Great play, great carry from Immelman there, you can see that. And this is just the play. You can see Bennett, the idea
that man is fine where
is okay.
He is.
Execution is a good 2-3 meters out wide there, but you kind of felt they were getting over the gain line. Maybe keeping the ball in the hand might have been the better option there.
Mike Healy's taken a bit of a knock there. It might have been the impact of that challenge from Immelman as he came forward, barnstorming run. Bit of attention too to Sean Klein. You just get the feeling Edinburgh, when they do play that heads-up, expansive, off-the-cuff style, with the back three they have, I mean, they've got lots of options, and maybe they just don't go to it quite often enough.
If I had knowledge of a doctor, I wouldn't be standing with this in my hand.
They need the perfect ball for them to go and try and strike out wide, and and that's the overly structured approach that they're trying to get for. But if they just embraced it and just kind of went for it a little bit more, you're seeing a little bit of spark from them, which is exactly what you want. And you had that carry from Mark Bennett in the wide channels, and a little bit of adventure from them, and they are getting good dividends from this. Just that accuracy in that final stages. A little pass, making sure the accuracy at the ruck, and maybe from Lang there, to having that kicking the ball away when you're on the front foot. What Edinburgh need to do, as well as pressure, they do need territory. But most important of all for them in this opening quarter is to get points on the board to keep in touching distance with this Munster team.
Yep, it's a tough place to come and play catch-up rugby. Craig Casey too is okay, or at least he seems to be. Let's hope he is.
Now, lad, just slow. Fine,
hasn't really had a look in terms of the Ireland Six Nations campaign just yet. We'll see what the Italy game potentially brings coming down the tracks, of course, next up. Meanwhile, it's James Barron. That was a little bit skewed, and it offered the opportunity for Glenn Young to get his hand in there, and he's clawed it back on the Edinburgh side.
You're trying to... No. Yeah.
And here he is again, taking the pass from Velicott, making good yards. Kinghorn now sends one over the top. Here they come again with Ben Muncaster. Klein in there, knee to the ground, and Klein's got a release before he's pinged. And Edinburgh back to halfway now, having to go backwards to try and come forward, and a little bit errant with ball in hand. Immelman now under pressure. Munster there at numbers. Clute just couldn't get his latch on. Advice like grip. I think it's going forward, and it's there for Wycherley. Good game, as I said, he is having now. Kilcoyne, and they spin it over the top from Goggin. What a ball that is. Back to Healy. Ben Healy now with a little bit of a shimmy of the hips and a movement of the feet, and he almost got in the corner.
Just a knock on for me.
Did they lose it?
Just clear that.
The vital moment. Great ball over the top.
Just a knock on, yeah.
Andrew Brace over on that far side.
He's part of the legal contest, yeah? Yeah. Just clear that, Brian. We're on downtime here. Whether he... You
can see what Edinburgh are trying to do, trying to get that second wave of attack in behind, and that pass going in between Bennett and Lang and going to nobody. And Munster ultimately capitalising on a great tackle here by Immelman on Ben Healy. And just that little bit of, you can just get an idea of it here. Oh, I think Hanning is going to be, Nick Hanning is, on second viewing, is probably not going to get away with that, that slap out of Casey's hands.
It's gone backwards, yeah, it's fine. So actually, it's gone backwards off blue, yeah? Not forwards off red, is that correct? Or has it gone forwards off red? Yeah. Yeah, it's fine, Brian.
Protracted discussion here between Ben Whitehouse and Andrew Brace, and I'm not sure at the end of it all they're going to get to the right outcome.
Blue ball.
You're wrong. I had thought they had outlawed slapping it out of the nine's hands.
It's not been picked up at all. It's not going to go upstairs. So
we will endeavour to continue on. So a good, a comedy of errors from Edinburgh. Managed to stay in the point. A little bit of luck. Sometimes you create your own luck. They've given away plenty of penalties. So they got the rub of the green on that time, and Nick Hanning doesn't give away a penalty that close to the line. They regain possession. They can build again. They will need a good exit here. If they haven't been doing particularly well in the first half, they're a great time to start.
That's the first one, lads. We're already pre-engaged this side completely. Let's just get it back. Come on.
Beautiful, let's go.
It's been pretty good from the two front rows so far. You're looking at the two top, statistically speaking, scrums in the URC, by the way. Again, when we're talking about Edinburgh playing heads up, expansive rugby using the width, we say that because they're number one in the stats in terms of clean breaks. 76 clean breaks is the competition best so far this season. And they do like to play off turnover. Scored a lot of tries off turnovers. They've managed 85 in their 9 matches so far before this evening.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold.
Nothing between them at all whatsoever. Look at Clute.
It's still in, it's still in, it's still in.
Insatiable appetite for the contact area and the tackle, and Edinburgh are going to find it difficult to get out from this situation. They've gained themselves a couple of meters.
Use it!
Velicot's going to take this on himself. Under pressure as he was from Finan Wycherley. Oh, it's a great take at the second attempt, albeit from Buffelli. Did really well, the Puma. And now Edinburgh perhaps can concoct something out of nothing here. Immelman now, the pass back on inside to Bennett was there, he goes to ground instead. Vellacott recycles, McBurney gets it away to Young. He's carried well this evening. He's managed to get that away, and that close, tight corridor there, that's tricky for Kinghorn. Bennett again. Just the momentum of the attack gone now for Edinburgh.
First time is fine.
Everything just slows down as Adolifo gets his hands on it, the 17 times cap Fijian. Now how did Munster got their hands on it, but illegally so.
It was never quick ball because it was known to play it, that's why he picked it up.
Yeah, and you can see Ben Whitehouse giving the information again. That's the second penalty in the same fashion for Munster. A little bit disappointing, but it's some breathtaking bit of play from both ends of the field. It literally has been end to end. Did want to make a comment on Chris Clote, and he's been really impressive for Munster. Been really good. Great take in the air by Buffelli there, and Edinburgh really rejuvenated from that and go the length of the field. But this is, and again, it's Jim McBannon again, which is really disappointing. A very sloppy one. You can try and argue loosely that you're trying to get out of the way, but you know, it's all about the pictures that you play. So Buffelli really instrumental in that breakout from Edinburgh, lining up the ball now to try and close that gap to 7 points.
Well, him as well. No, to be fair, put time off for an injury.
Straight in front, as demonstrated by that graphic, 0 angle. He's given that a mighty old thump, no problems whatsoever for Emiliano Buffelli. And we said at half-time, if there is to be legs in this challenge for Edinburgh here at Thomond Park, they need to get the first score of the second half, and they've done so to reduce it to a 7-point margin once again. They're back within striking distance.
Watch.
A good opening 10 minutes, albeit just that 3-point return, but just keep asking the question of this Munster side. We were talking midway through the opening half that Edinburgh conceded far too many penalties. They were at 6 after just beyond the opening quarter. It now stands at 8 apiece, by the way, so they've levelled up that ledger. And they're getting closer on the one that really matters. That's better from Healy. Healy now out the back from Coombs and almost beyond the reach of Dan Goggin.
Yeah, very stationary from Munster. Passing backwards with not really that many options. And Ben Healy there having to dance his way out of pressure, and done to quite a good effect in the turnover there. Very disappointing.
It's loose from Munster after good work from Ben Healy when he had to improvise and looked like a quarterback who was living in fear of being sacked by a linebacker. Back inside to Buffelli. He's becoming more and more prominent in the game, not just from the kicking tee, but also with ball in hand. Coming in off his wing to try and get involved. That's Conor Boyle again, who tonight has had a good game also. Marshall Sykes now, the second row, takes it on. Just a little bit of more energy from this Edinburgh side, and a little bit of belief now in the second half as well. Now Bowen Venter, did he get away with another stealing the yard on the floor there? Edinburgh on they go again. Buffelli again involved, and it's the prop that has his hands on it again, Bowen Venter.
12, sorry.
It's a penalty against James Lang, I think it is.
Entry from the blind side. Cleared the jackler out.
Clearing the jackler out, because what Ben Whitehouse is saying there. you know, for Edinburgh to continue in this game, they have to be whiter than white, and silly penalties like that won't help their cause. But a good defensive set from Munster. No obvious weakness in how they were defending against the Edinburgh attack, and a lovely relieving kick from Ben Healy. I want to see a bit more energy from Munster. You know, at the restarts, they've seemed to have been a little bit casual. I know they are leading by 7 points, but it seems a little bit casual from Munster. And you want to see a little bit more energy in them and want to keep rejuvenate, get a little bit more attack, get a little bit more pep in their step.
A good start so far for Immelman. So Jeremy Barron has his hands on it. Casey in communication. Munster not really going anywhere in a hurry. Can they go on again as they just almost break off to the side? They did have to be careful.
Stop, you've stepped out obstruction.
They won't get away with that.
What do you do?
A little bit of silliness after the play has been stopped over on that far side. An exchange between, I think it's Nick Haining and Jeremy Barron.
We'll speak over that.
What I like actually in this season in particular has been the briefings by the referees. Has been very, very clear, very concise. A lot of teams you may not agree with what the referee has said, but you can't argue with it. They were very telling the Munster players they stepped out, made a bridge, and that is that's what the penalty was for.
Okay. 2-2.
There we can see just the players just splintering off into that. It's not the same mold. They're effectively just stepping away from that as a 3, which you can't do.
Put him in the middle. Time on. Put him in the middle.
And they go to the front to Venter, and look how alive and alert James O'Donoghue was. He's going to be called back. Munster are going to change their only 3 replacements, as you can see, stripped and ready to come in on that far side. Miles Scannell's going to be coming in. I think it's John Ryan and maybe John Hodnett as well.
He's trying to win
Plenty
the ball,
of activity on both benches.
And then your second player's gathered it.
Looks as though Mesu Kunavulu's come in into the Edinburgh back row as well.
Marks here.
Ben Muncaster is the player to go off.
Knock on. Out 15. Yeah.
There is Kunavulu wearing number 20, the 6 times capped Fijian back rower. He too signed a new contract this week. 6-year-old, and it's
just a quick word.
2 out of 3 in the front row. Miles Scannell and John Ryan coming in, so they're keeping the 200-man Dave Kilcoyne out there for the time being. Chris Clute, who's been very effective tonight, goes off as well. And it is John Hodnett who comes in.
John Hodnett is a man who's a lot of injuries in the lead up to this season, but his form this year has been very, very good. A lot of promise, a lot of expectation for this guy in Munster. A lot of expectation when he's come back, and he has delivered every time he's gone on. He'll have been watching Clote, how he's been playing. He'll want to hit this ground, and he'll want to make an immediate impact for the Munster team.
Oh, it's a big shunt. Edinburgh scrum under real pressure for the first time this evening. They managed to get it away. They had to get it away. Good progress from Bennett. Farrell coming through, making life exceedingly difficult for Edinburgh. They've managed to maintain possession. Now what can they do? Look at that for a huge hit on Adalifo. Shuddering tackle coming in. I think it was Dave Kilcoyne, was it? Now Zebo. The boot is the option for the record try score, and Munster now almost up to halfway once again.
You mentioned it, Conor, that we haven't really had much to see of Simon Zebo, which is so disappointing. One of the most exciting players in world rugby, and every time he gets the ball, there's a sense of anticipation in the crowd. And you know, unfortunately, we're seeing him do the basics, but again, doing it very, very well off the outside of the boots, make sure to get the ball into touch. Good clearing kick from Simon Zebo.
Boyle now, first touch for Kunavulu. And that one that he can take. Jim Cherry, by the way, is in for Adam McBurney at hooker for Edinburgh. Healy in a little bit of bother there, and there's Hodnett and that dynamism and strength and energy that he brings, but it's a good rip. And Edinburgh have it now, and Kinghorn assesses the options. Zebo was quickly on the retreat toward the backfield, so that option was cut off for him. Here's Moyano, runs into a little bit of trouble in the shape of Dave Kilcoyne. Cherry gets them moving again with Kinghorn. Is there space out on that left side? There's Hudnett again, very quick to make the tackle. Covers the ground very, very well. It's come off the head of Calvin Nash. He wanted it back. Instead it goes to Casey. Kilcoyne, good hands. Healy. Options this way now. Goggin through the hands again to Mike Healy. Oh, it's on here, surely for Munster. Options left, options right. Zebo is always the right option in that scenario, and he gets in for a second of the evening. Great try from Munster. Mike Healy involved a couple of times, and they go half the length of the pitch, and now there's real daylight between the sides.
Yeah, and a great counter punch from Munster. Edinburgh on the attack, going through the wide channels. What looked like there was an overlap. I think it may have been, yeah, Kinghorn who's going to push the pass. He's gone for everything. Gets the lucky Falcon, hits into Calvin Nash's head, and I wonder, are we going to have a look at it? But you can see Mike Healy. This is the second touch. That's the second touch that he's gotten. Gets the ball and a good, well-timed pass into Simon Zebo, who gets in across to make the kick as easy as he possibly can for his kicker. But the second touch from Mike Healy, all important. Really important. Great try from Munster there.
Well, you did want to say you wanted to see Simon Zebo light up the place with that electric pace that he has and the swashbuckling style. A bit of a canter in again, but in the right place at the right time. Huge credit to Mike Healy. Five out of 5 for Ben Healy. Munster in danger now of disappearing over the horizon, but we've seen already Edinburgh come back from a 13-point deficit. They now find themselves 14 points in arrears. O'Donoghue wanted it. Healy was on the inside. He was probably always going to go to the outside when he knew Zebo was there.
No? Okay.
I think it's Mark Bennett in a little bit of distress over there, being attended to by the medics. Looks like his evening is over.
Didn't you see it on screen? They showed it on screen. It hit his head, his arm went backwards, and then called clear.
Leroy Adolifo has gone off, so Jake Armstrong is in.
Which way are you going, left?
Disappointment for Mark Bennett there. Released, of course, from Gregor Townsend's Scotland squad, Six Nations squad, to be here this evening.
Back. Caught.
It's gone back off Chris Farrell. Still one or two of the Edinburgh players just saying after that ball hit Calvin Nash, did he knock it on with his hand after that?
Lock forward.
The ball's gone forward in the contact area, has it? No. On we go up to that Munster 22. It's Christine, by the way, who's come in for Mark Bennett now.
He didn't try and tackle him, but he wasn't not 10.
Has he marched them forward again? Yeah, he has.
Back you go. On the line.
He's not standing for any nuisance value stuff this evening, is he, Ben Whitehouse?
It was a lazy run rather than the tackle.
No, it's a question here for Edinburgh now. What do they do? Is they try and maintain? Yep, and they are going to go for the corner. 3 points in the context of the game. 60 minutes coming into the final, the final 20 minutes. This is where they have to go, and they need to get something from this to stay in the touch. Do they win the game? Do they not? They win the game. A bonus point could be very, very important in the context of the URC League and how things shape up.
We're going to go here.
Yes, as it stands, as I said, a month ago they were top of the table. They're now down in 4th.
Are you in
and
or
as
out?
It stands,
Are you
staring
in?
a third consecutive defeat
Stay back.
in the face, unless they can manufacture something a little bit special in terms of a comeback here. And they had to get hands on that ball.
Ball's available.
Brilliantly done from Finn Witcher. He's been excellent tonight.
ambitious throw at the tail of the line out. You just have to wonder about the calling there. And this is a promising...
Yeah, they might yet get away with it.
Just the calling, the accuracy, the line out has been largely pretty good from Edinburgh. But initially a little bit of a shaky start, but it has been good for the most part of this game. They never really looked like winning that. It's great defensive from Finian Wycherley there at the tail of the line out. But they get another attacking platform.
We've got to keep
maybe they can find better look in the scrum.
Shaking the head from Graham Rowntree to the right of Johan van Graan. Stephen Larkin to the left.
Just let me admit it, I'll step to
you. It is always one of the curious things about competing for the line out on the 5-metre line. When you go up, if you do tap it back, how many times have you seen the opposition then just flop onto it and score the try? And great reactions from Jack O'Donoghue just to sniper that. But it almost puts you paradoxically puts yourself under a little bit of pressure. You win the line out defending your own try line. Maybe sometimes you're better off staying down to compete, not to compete.
Bind! Yeah, I can see it. Okay, excuse me. 18? You've been on the field 2 minutes. This man's been on for 62 minutes, and we haven't had a single problem with this. So is it you, or is it him?
Well, you go on this side now, sir.
I will come this side.
Dave Kilcoyne having a little joist here with the replacement tight head for Edinburgh, Jake Armstrong.
Like the space was there.
I want to go square.
He made his debut last week at the RDS against Leinster. He's in on loan from Bristol. He's getting a ticking off from Dan Whitehouse. He's not the only one who's got one of those this evening. Certainly it's helped the flow of the game. He's taken charge of it well. Standing for no messing at the breakdown too.
Use it.
Cunavula will do that. Here come Edinburgh now with Chris Dean.
No, he regathered it.
Big tackle from Goggin.
He's got anything different.
They're claiming a knock on. I think it is in there, but referee's happy to let play continue. And Edinburgh do that with Glenn Young. Well, that's holding it in the thick of things with John Klein. They're driving Edinburgh back 3 or 4 metres right in front of those posts. 64th minute of the game, trailing by 14 points. They need 7 here, Edinburgh, to try and salvage something from this game. Patience required and poise. Boyle is over it. Poised to latch his Glenn Young.
Advantage 16 offside.
John Ryan quickly off the line, but it's a penalty advantage against Niall Scannell. Do they have numbers to the left-hand side? They go directly wide to that man, Buffelli again. On they go with Sykes now. It's carried well tonight. Bowen Venter makes himself available. A hat-trick of tries against the Ospreys. No way through that Munster defence initially. On they go with Armstrong now, the replacement tight head. Gavin Coombs is over. Can't quite get hands on and goes to ground. Cunavula now. Young again. He's been very strong in terms of his carries this evening. They're having to work really hard to get any kind of advantage, long advantage though it is. There's not really any accruing though, such as Munster's defence now. Potentially space here. Can they get the numbers right? Around the outside goes Dean. Now will he play the advantage all the way back? We go.
Your hands are in front. I got a mark, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, it's a penalty against Niall Scannell.
The hookers are not having much look at the breakdown tonight. An exceptionally long passage of advantage there for Edinburgh.
I just wonder what the option is here. Do they mix it up a little bit with a scrum or maybe a tap and go?
Behind the line.
They've tried the line-out route to little avail, really.
No, they're not.
Bowen Vanter's going to tap and go here. Leading the charges, Kilcoyne. Look at that impact from the 200 caps man. Absolutely flew out of the blocks there. Croyd enjoyed that. Kilcoyne enjoyed it. And Munster will survive with their try line intact for now. He's been doing that kind of thing for 10, 11 years now.
Who's the new captain?
The killer. They don't call him killer for nothing. That's a great bit of one-upmanship. Loose head on loose head. Happy to lock horns, and David Kilcoyne coming out on top. On plenty of occasions this evening, and he's been full value for his 200 cap tonight, and a great accolade for him to reach.
It doesn't happen anymore, otherwise
sure
we will
he'll be
continue
proud
with
of that
penalties.
performance
Have a
tonight.
word, we're going for a scrum here. One, that's your call. And blue 9.
And that's his last piece of action, and you'll listen to the ovation now for the latest member, the 12th member of the Munster 200 club. What a servant, Dave Kilcoyne. And off he goes. Yeah, he's enjoyed himself tonight, and why not? There was a game against Connacht here at Thomond Park in 2011 when he replaced Marcus Horan off the bench for the last 20 minutes of an inter-pro match that made his debut. That was the Bull Hayes, John Hayes, his final appearance in Munster Red.
Let's go. Here we go. Let's go.
Crouch.
As I said, he's given his team an opportunity to exit here after that sustained period of pressure. Camped inside their own 22. Front rows are down. Casey encouraged to use it. Zebo, under considerable pressure, will get it away to the safety of touch, and a really good touch find from Zebo.
Sub 5.
Replacement at scrum half.
5.
And indeed in the second row for Edinburgh. So Henry Pyrgos is in for Nick Fellicott. I think Glenn Young also was going off. So Pierce Phillips is the player to come in for the visitors.
I'll go back that side because we had a good contest, my
I
side.
just wonder how much are this level of substitution going to disrupt the Edinburgh team. They go really, really well when they have their full squad, but the amount of numbers that they're contributing to the Scottish team, it has to hurt them. And they just seem to be, they were so close to be within touching distance of this Munster team for large parts of this game. They're really, really going to have to stay composed to stay to get back in with it now.
And Phillips did well. Pyrgos gets them moving, and Immelman now has had a good game tonight. He's been effective with ball in hand. He's hit the line at pace and some good lines. Lang can't quite find a way through. It's quick service from the energetic Pyrgos, albeit 32 years old, but that's not gone the hand from Dave Cherry. And all these little handling errors, costly errors with the clock against Edinburgh, having to find a couple of scores.
Stay red, advantage over. Now you're on.
Dave Cherry has no reason to be tired. He is literally just on the field. But they're the tired errors that just seem to be unwinding now from an Edinburgh's perspective.
Kinghorn with nowhere to go, really. Edinburgh will be looking probably just to salvage a losing bonus point at this stage and maybe work from there. We have seen they have the ability, once they get those line breaks, to create a couple of tries out of nothing. That's a big hit on Chris Farrell. Two big men colliding together. I think it's Nick Haney who's actually come off second best in that. Maybe a little bit of a stinger.
Just slipped up when he was trying to get to ground. He slipped up to the neck.
Yeah, that collision, I don't think Chris Farrell was expecting him to come into contact in that particular fashion. I don't think Nick Hanning was expecting Chris Farrell to be in that position either. They're just an awkward collision around the AC joint, I think, for Nick Hanning, and he does look in a little bit of pain here. The missed pass, but I don't think anyone was expecting, and just that leading with the shoulder, and I think just the collision straight in, leading with the shoulder, coming in like that, and yeah, just right in on top of the AC joint. You can see here now the physio on the dock. There's a well tried test for the AC joint, and it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back. Stay this side, the scrum, yeah.
half a dozen tries for this season, and he generally scores in batches of 2 this season. 2 against Wasps and 2 against the Sharks. 2 tonight against Edinburgh. For a man who's now got 66 all told in the couple of spells at Thomond Park. Always plays the game with a smile on his face.
Drive past and take the ground different. I just felt he was
Dragons
big,
up
strong
next for
carries,
Munster
play
before they go to the Bulls and the Lions in March.
Oh, jeez.
Well, we want to play quick.
South African sojourn, take number 2. Let's hope it goes a good deal better than the
Just for him,
last attempt.
When the water goes off, there's still medics on.
He'll be hopeful, Mike Blair, that his side can find
Lads, we
a
just wait for this
7-pointer to try and get themselves back into losing bonus point territory. But that's
He's staying on, boys, yeah?
well, that's 2 Scottish internationals they've lost to injury this evening. First Mark Bennett and then Nick Haney. We're going to restart with that penalty against Sean Klein.
Nick Henning is made of stronger stuff than I gave him credit for. He's staying on the pitch. He's in a fair bit of pain, but he's really shown some good character for his teammates. You can see it means something to him. He wants to be in here. He wants to fight. He wants to stay in the hunt here, which is a really good thing to see from your players once there's no risk of injury.
Yeah, there he is. Towards the tail of the lineup. I'm not sure he really wants to be a line-out lifter right at this moment in time. I had him written off too. I thought he was definitely going off. That's Chris Dean with good hands, finding Kunavula. Centre of the pitch, lots of options. Taking it on by Jake Armstrong now. They need to look after the ball in those tight corridors and be precise from this kind of range. Chris Dean, tackled by Hodnett. Wriggles free, not held in the tackle. Ball is there. We need a scrum half. Sykes goes in, Boyle there too. There is Haney. Pyrgos.
No, he's not.
Edinburgh go again with Fenter. Kunavula up against John Ryan. Pyrgos just pops one around the corner to Pierce Phillips, who's hit hard in the tackle there again for Pyrgos. This will test Nick Haney. It's okay, that's a couple of carries. Kunavula once more. Venter. That's quicker ball for Pyrgos, using all his experience and nous, and in he goes. Spotted a little bit of gap. Nobody at home there for Munster. And a Dwatley through to finish under the posts, and they've got themselves back to within losing bonus point territory, and plenty of time still to manufacture something further here. Not done by a long shot.
Henry Pyrgos, take a bow. He has sold about 4 Munster players down the Swanee there. Gavin Coombs, that is a cardinal sin. Niall Scallon as well at the breakdown there. Both of them looking where the ball is going to go, and Henry Pyrgos has just sold them up, and that is a great bit of individual skill. You don't see it too much anymore. The 1970s, the 1960s, whatever era JPR Williams played in, but that was as good as they go. Have a look that way. No thanks, son. And underneath the post, 7 points and bonus point territory. Game on.
And the only person not fooled by that little show and go was our camera operator, so kudos to them. Full value for Henry Pyrgos, the vastly experienced scrum half, as I mentioned, 32 years of age, having won a Pro 12 during his 7 or 8 years, I think it was, at Glasgow. Neil Cronin, by the way, is in. Speaking of scrum halves, there he is with 21 on his back for Ben Casey. Craig Casey, rather. Ben Healy still with us. 9 minutes to go, 27 points to 20. We're not quite sure what we're going to get for the remainder of this game. Alex Kendellen is into the Munster back row as well. There is Healy. Curious one from Calvin Nash off Dan Goggins' pass.
As Trevor Brennan always used to say, that was in the breadbasket. Should have done better with that, but a lovely bit of aerial work there. And you expect a player of his Calvin Nash's quality to be able to take that. Fairly sympathetic pass. get his timing right onto it. And again, similar in the first half, Munster not responding to the Edinburgh pressure particularly well. You still expect them to have the capacity and the ability to win and see out this game, but disappointing from them to not be able to, not responding in time, in character, the way you want them to be.
Really good so far.
Shane Daly is coming in.
And his angle.
It's the end of the evening then for Calvin Nash.
Cheer, boys. Time back on.
The issue not quite put to bed then just yet. Cunavullo has carried well since coming in off the bench. One or two others also have made an impression off that Edinburgh bench. Certainly no more so than the man with the ball in his hands at the moment, Henry Pyrgos. And that's a penalty too. It's scrum time. You can sense the belief is very much still there from Edinburgh.
Yeah, I thought the ball was still in the middle of the scrum. That's why I blew it. I couldn't see it. I looked.
Now, what kind of yardage can Boffelli get here? Wrong side for a left-footed kicker on that side of the field, but well, it will be in and around that 10-metre line.
I think Munster not having a second row on the bench is ultimately hurting them here. I think Jack O'Donoghu's gone into the second row, and that kind of specialist scrumming, tight head locks, loose head locks. There is a skill, there is an art to that, and Edinburgh nicely able to expose it there. And as they break out from the line-out,
good take again from Phillips. Dean has shown up well off that bench as well. That look forward from Cunavullo. Yeah, even the way he dispatched it, it was almost apologetic, as if to say, can I get away with this one? And he was never going to.
Yeah, I think he concentrated on what he's been good at, carrying the ball, getting over the game line. But you're right, Conor, he's looked comfortable on the ball. We can see it here, trying to do too many things, and
agreed.
That James Lang just timing his run poorly off the big man. But Cunavullo has definitely improved the Edinburgh team, getting them over the gain line. He started the game last week and struggled with the pace of it. Much more comfortable seeing coming in with 20-30 minutes on the clock remaining.
It's definitely been a tactic and a deliberate strategy from both Glasgow and Edinburgh. Actually, when we're talking about the players that the Scottish side lose to Gregor Townsend's Scotland squad, the recruitment, the likes of Boffelli and Moyano and also Cunavullo, the same at Glasgow, recruiting overseas players for these Six Nations and autumn test windows, that they don't suffer so much in the URC. Well, anything you can do, we can certainly match. A penalty on the far side to Edinburgh and a penalty to Munster on this side.
And went down. Blue lost shape and went down. Just marks that, mate. Yeah. You can go behind it.
It's been a good contest all night. It's been pretty even, and lots of personnel changes, of course. Alex Kendellen and John Hodnett, both, of course, back row options for Munster, as Gordon was saying. No Boytree at second row in there, albeit Jack O'Donoghue has gone in to fill the gap. And after all that momentum that we saw from the Pyrgos try, it's 4 or 5 minutes have just really evaporated with nothing happening for Edinburgh. Now they find themselves on the back foot again.
Yeah, this is where Munster have been dangerous. They don't respond initially particularly well when Edinburgh have scored, but then they just show their class, and they've been able to build a score, build something, a series of phase, and build pressure in here. And you'd expect them to want to get something on the board now, as we're coming into the last kind of 15 minutes, the last few minutes of the game.
Every time they've been really good second half. Ball, stay.
Scannell hits his target. Here's Gavin Coombs.
It's not going anywhere. It's just grabbing. It's just grabbing. Now it's over.
In comes Cronin. Scannell still holding on to it. Cronin now. Oh, is it a hat-trick for Zebo? Oh, yes, it is. And now you will hear the Thomond Park crowd go absolutely wild. The issue put to bed finally, and it's a hat-trick hero for the record try scorer Simon Zebo.
And his mate Ben Healy deserves a lot of credit in the build-up to this. Doesn't really look on, nothing. It looks like Edinburgh have done just about as much as they can to defend it. Craig Casey comes in, looks down the short side, but look at this, look at the timing of Ben Healy's pass, the inside-outward footwork there. He gets the eyes of Moyano looking in at him, and the releasing of the pass, that is everything in that. He couldn't, that we're talking about margins, we're talking about centimetres on the touchline, the little swivel of the hips from Ben Healy, the timing of the pass, that is very, very, very impressive work from the Munster out half tonight.
Oh, he's played really, really well tonight, Ben Healy. He's been so assured. And there we saw the creative side and the little bit of acumen and nous with the weight of pass, the timing of the pass, and off he goes to allow Jack Crowley to come in for the last couple of minutes. But what about that from Simon Zebo? Doesn't he absolutely love it? And don't they love him? Haven't they always loved him? At times this season, it's like he never went away.
You do have to feel for Edinburgh in this phase of play. Beautiful, beautiful try. Munster able to turn it on when they needed to, but it just felt like Edinburgh had done enough to fight their way back into this half, and they will need something special here now to try and salvage something from this game.
Yeah, and that's another huge cheer. Gavin Coombs again, he's had another really, really good game. Munster with the bonus point in the bag, and Edinburgh going to leave with nothing when they were looking like they might fight back to get a losing bonus point. All so important, of course, in that congestion towards the top of the URC table. Half a dozen tries, it's been a good game throughout. There is Jack Crowley in to see out the last couple of minutes.
Sorry. Yeah, as soon as I got it, mate.
You know, as Munster have ebbed and flowed in this game, which I know the coaching staff will not be delighted with. They would have liked a much more ruthless approach from this Munster team. They have done enough to win this heavily depleted, to beat this heavily depleted Edinburgh team. But there's so much more in them, and these flashes and momentum of up and down, they'll need to be better in that as this tournament goes along.
Say more. First stop. There you go. Leave his leg, 16. Leave his leg. Good.
Dave Cherry's got to be careful there.
He's away.
Scannell now. Jack O'Donoghue is the URC player of the match this evening.
Thanks, buddy. That's a good tackle.
And the clock goes red. It's job done from a Munster point of view. They've got their bonus point. They're heading back up the table. Back up to 35 points to join the likes of Leinster and Glasgow.
He's off his feet, lads. Never on his feet.
And more importantly, back to winning ways after that insipid, poor display. And Stephen Larkham called it last week in Glasgow. This time they've got the better of their Scottish opponents on home soil. Edinburgh leading by 10 at half-time. And they built up a handsome lead in the second half, and they have seen out the job. Ben Whitehouse blows the whistle, and Munster get the win, and in the end it's a 14-point advantage, which appears like a handsome advantage, but they had to work hard for it, and in the end, ultimately, the difference between the two sides was that man, Simon Zebo, a hat-trick of tries for Munster's all-time leading try scorer. He is the guy that takes the plaudits. He is the man that writes the headlines, and he has been the difference tonight. That little bit of Simon Zebo X-factor at Thomond Park in Limerick. The final score in round 12, Munster 34, Edinburgh 20.